What is up, YouTube? This is Cody on the Real Sports Talk, bringing you the pre-race video for the Capital City 400 at Richmond. But before I get to that, I'm going to talk about a little bit about the nationwide race yesterday. Pretty exciting race. It was Travis Pastrana's first nationwide race 9 months after he was supposed to get in the car. He injured himself at the X Games just before he was about to get in last year. And he ended up finishing 22nd. I was actually impressed with how he was running. And he was charging forward at points, made some mistakes, ended up finishing 22nd, one position behind Danica Patrick, and I would say it was overall a good performance for him in his first night, even though that's obviously not what he's striving for in the future. He ran well, he passed some cars, raced pretty clean, made some contact late in the race, but that's expected in a guy's first race, especially if it's at a short track. In this race, Kyle Busch Motorsports took its first win with Kurt Busch behind the wheel of the 54 Monster Energy Toyota. And it came down, figures, to Joe Gibbs Racing, the team that Kyle Busch races for and used to race for in the Nationwide Series, and won with so many times in that 18 car. Denny Hamlin was charging toward Kurt Busch toward the end of the race. It looked like at the stripe, with taking the white flag, that Denny Hamlin was going to easily get the win. But Kurt Busch hung in tough on the outside, and he muscled Denny Hamlin down to the bottom of the track for 2 corners and pinched him down, and he was able to take away the win. It was a great finish to the race, and it was well worth watching. And hopefully we get something like that tonight in tonight's race. There were only 3 cautions. I expect more in the race tonight, although I could see a very green start to the race. I'd expect to see a lot of cautions toward the end. And also in this Nationwide Series race, Ryan Blaney, Dave Blaney's son, in his first outing, very good race. He finished 7th, was looking like one of the most competitive guys throughout the night, but made some mistakes. And Stephen Wallace got back in a car, and he was able to finish in 11th, the last car in the lead lap. And just kind of round out some of your finishers here, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. finished in 4th, Sam Hornish Jr. finished in 5th, and Elliott Sadler, our points leader, finished in 6th. And he now leads Stenhouse by 2 points and Austin Dillon by 23 points. And moving forward to the Sprint Cup Series race, Mark Martin was the last qualifier on the track on Friday, and he took the pole away from Carl Edwards on his second lap, so it was kind of a tense thing if you were watching qualifying. They really thought the track was going away toward the end of qualifying, and Mark Martin just kind of blew that theory out of the water as he took the pole. And he's already got some poles this season, so he's doing well in his limited schedule. Just some guys that are going to have a hard time getting forward, but since it's a short track, I don't know, we'll see. But they're starting 27th on back. Jimmy Johnson, Greg Biffle, Jeff Burton, and Paul Menard, all finishing starting the race toward the back of the field. And I was talking a little bit about the cautions earlier. I'd expect this race to be very quiet early, very green the first half, but as we get toward the end, if we get a caution, cautions breed cautions, especially at short tracks, we could see 5 or 6 cautions in the last 100-150 laps as people try to get to the front. But if we don't get a caution that brings the field together, I think this could be a very green race like we saw in yesterday's Nationwide Series race. So it's all going to depend when the debris caution falls, or when a car blows up, when a car spins out, that kind of thing. If it happens early, I don't think we're going to get a ton of cautions, but if there's one within, I'd say 200 laps, I'd definitely expect at least 3 cautions in the last 150 laps of the race. And possibly a green-white checker or a shootout to the finish. And also, as we saw in the last few laps of the Nationwide Series race yesterday, we can see some good racing at Richmond. So hopefully that carries over to tonight, and we can see some great racing on the short track. As far as who's going to perform well, I think Clint Boyer could perform well. He was the only one that was consistent throughout the race at the top of the charts, or throughout the practice at the top of the charts, the 2 practice sessions. Lowest he was 6th. And I'm not thinking he's going to win the race, but I think he could have a very good night after last week's disappointment at Kansas. I think that this could be Joe Gibbs Racing's breakout performance of the season as far as good finishers and having all cars run well. My pick to win this race is Denny Hamlin. I think Kyle Busch is going to break through in this race and have a great run. I think Joey Logano can run in the top 10 as well in this race. Although I wouldn't be surprised if Dale Jr. or Casey Kane comes through and wins this race. Dale Jr., a couple years ago, racing with Kyle Busch, was in the lead in the closing laps, got spun out, and that was kind of a little debate there on whether that was the right thing to do for Kyle Busch, but it's short track racing, so I think that was fine by me. And a developing storyline over the last couple of weeks with Denny Hamlin winning last week is who will get to 200 wins first, Rick Hendrick, or will it be the 11 car? They're both sitting on 199 right now, and I think that's going to be, with my predictions, obviously, that's going to be decided tonight, who's going to reach that first, and I think the 11 car is going to get there, but definitely wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Dale Jr. won tonight's race and breaks his winless streak as well. So we'll be looking forward to the race tonight, and after tonight's race and the video I'll have for you after that, we're going to be moving on to Talladega, a very different track, one of the four superspeedway races, I should say, on the schedule. So enjoy tonight's race, and I'll talk to you after.